I just want a deep eye contact, Robyn.
No.
2, 3, 4. Who killed your darlings?
Hello. Welcome back to episode. What number are we on?
7?
I was going to say 8, so 7.
No, I think we're 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Chit chats are odd numbers. Book episodes are even numbers.
Boom.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you enjoy Silver is for Secrets? Was that last week?
No. White is for magic. We're recording Silvers for Secrets next.
Oh, right. I'm all backwards.
It's okay.
Did you enjoy White is for Magic? It's funny. I have like this everything listed out like meticulously because my brain can't once we get so ahead, my brain gets lost.
No, I'm going to be the same way.
I think I said Silver is for Secrets and I meant White is for Magic for whatever. Those two
sometimes the brain just doesn't work. I know mine doesn't work a lot of the time.
think I'm not colorblind, but I think my thoughts are because silver and white just were the same in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway, how'd you guys like White is for Magic?
Have you guys...
Please respond. We'll wait.
We'll wait.
Just dead air for another 45 minutes. Yeah, so next week we'll be doing Silver is for Secrets because now I'm correct. And let us know what other books you think we should cover after this series.
What were some young adult books that you loved that you'd want to hear us talk about?
Yeah. Yeah, because we have some ideas for some upcoming stuff, but obviously we will shift things around if somebody recommends a book that we're just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. We definitely have a list, but
we have an ever-growing list, and friends have recommended things. I know people who have said, oh, I loved this book as a kid, but what I'm finding really cool is a lot of people are saying, wow, I forgot about this book. Or like one of my friends listened to the Just Listen episode recently, and she was texting me about it, and she was like, yeah, I want to reread this. And I was just like, yeah, dude, it's really nice, and I really appreciate, 'cause my brain also, tell me if your brain does this. My brain does this thing where I'll have like a to-do list for the day and I'll get overwhelmed because I'm like, this is like 72 hours worth of things I need to get done in one day. And it's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning really quickly, because I'll get overwhelmed when I'm just like, oh, fuck, I have to like finish one of these books. And not in the sense of like, I don't want to do it, but when I have to do something for a thing, I get anxious. But then there's such fast reads that I'll just be like, I'm like, oh, this is fine.
I started reading like Silver is for Secrets. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get like 150 pages into the book and then I'll, stop. I literally just finished it like a couple hours later because it's just that fast.
Same. No, I figured out how quickly I could read them, or I started to trust my ability to read them quickly when so we had a gap between recording sessions between Blue is for Nightmares and White is for Magic. And so when we realized we were going to have that gap, I was like, oh, I can just like put this off until later because I had a lot going on. And then I read it all like the Friday before. I know. And then for the next book we're talking about, I read, because I did that with White is for Magic so easily, I was like, oh, I can read Silver is for Secrets in like one day too. Yeah. On a lighter work day. So it's nice. And we talked about this when we first started the podcast, but I think it's nice because it's like, not to say that these books are trashy, but it's kind of like just watching a soap opera or like a trashy TV show that's just like there's not that much substance to it. It's kind of surface level dramatic entertainment that's not provoking a lot of deep philosophical thought, and it's just entertainment. Yeah. And that's what I really like about these books, is that they're just entertainment.
It's just fun.
It's just fun, man. So how's your week going? Has anybody killed your darling? I guess we said that was going to be a thing.
I know. I haven't really had anybody kill my darling. No, have you?
No, I kill my darling every day. Just what that means.
Explain.
Why does it sound like a euphemism for masturbating?
It didn't
until I said it.
You just said it.
You're welcome. So I think I mentioned this before. I'm in the process of getting ready to make a short film. I wrote it. I'm going to act in it, and I'm like sort of producing it. And I just kill my darling all the time with that process because I've never done this before from like the ground up like this. I've always been brought in as just, another cog in the machine.
Yeah.
But so I'm uncomfortable and insecure this whole process because it's just new and unfamiliar. And of course, and I'm sure so many people can relate to this, when I start to feel insecure, I'm just like, everybody thinks I suck at this. Everybody thinks I'm stupid and that I suck at this and this is
Like
stupid.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, very much imposter syndrome. Even though like one of the ways I counteract it is to like immediately say to everybody I have no idea what I'm doing to kind of take the pressure off. Because I feel like if you try to act like you know what you're doing and you don't, that makes it much harder and messier. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that my crowdfunding campaign is live as of when this episode drops.
So to the show notes.
If anybody feels so inclined to check it out, every dollar counts. I really only need 3,000 people to donate $5. So our audience is tiny. But
hey, that's something.
Yeah.
It's a really cool like short film. The script is really fun. I'm really excited to see it come to fruition.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess I do kill my darlings because I'm in the process of writing a book. Maybe, hopefully, it'll turn into a book. I don't want to be like I'm writing a book, but like,
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. It's like I feel self-conscious about that. How it started is like I wanted
It's like
to
saying
be
I'm a poet.
Yeah, like I wanted to be a writer for a really long time. I majored in journalism in college. I've never like written a story over like 40 pages.
Me either.
But I want
I've
to
started novels.
Yeah, but like
I died.
Same. Like, and I really want to write a book. So, and I had writer's block for a really long time, and I'm like kind of in the last couple of years have been just starting to get back into it. But like how this story started was like I had a scene that came into my head. I wrote the scene, and then I started writing. Once I finished that scene, I was like, I wrote ahead, and then I went back, and then I'm like, it's all over the place. But it's like
That's one way to do it.
It's working for me.
I mean, Greta Gerwig wrote Lady Bird in a series of scenes that she eventually strung together.
There we go.
So it's not like there's no wrong way to do it.
No, and like every other time I've tried to write, like, no, I have to have like write in chronological order because that's how you have to do it. It's never worked. It just dies. I lose momentum and I leave it and never come back to it.
Yeah.
But then I also have like things of like, oh, like, why should I write a story? Who's going to read my story? Why is my story important? That kind of thing that I'm trying to like get rid of and just write with no expectations. Just get it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard too because I think especially as women, we're taught to not take up any space, and it feels like making any form of creation or art is taking up space that then we feel unworthy to take up.
Yeah.
That's
like,
kind of what I was struggling with at first when trying to make this film. And best friend Julie, bitch. If anybody listens to like episode 5 or whatever it was, I described my short film to her before I'd written it, like what I'd kind of imagined in my head. And she said, I want to know how you see the world. I want to see how you see things. And that just really stuck with me. And I think the idea of an oversaturated market is a lie capitalism tells us. Because if you just keep doing the thing, it'll get somewhere. It's the people that do it and stop or never fully do it who are the ones who are like, yeah, well, it's not going to happen for me. And it's just like, no, this is so optimistic. I'm uncomfortable. If you keep doing the thing, something will happen.
Yeah.
You may not get that like super like glitzy, glamorous, idealized dream we all think of, but
like New York Times bestseller. Now everybody knows your name. Your book
Yeah, but,
immediately
like-
turns into a movie.
yeah, but like something happens if you just keep doing it. And the people that tell you can't do it are the people that didn't let themselves do it. It's
And
the same idea of
literally-
shadow artists from The Artist's Way.
It's me telling me like I'm trying to combat because I've like halfway done it or I've just given up because I'm just like no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not do that anymore. And I'm like realizing like, oh, the only person who like has told me no in the last like 10 years is me.
Yeah. But also, even if you were like, let's say, sending out manuscripts to publishers and getting told no, it's that thing of like everybody gets told
exactly.
no. And you should read Big Magic, actually.
Okay.
I haven't finished it. I've been like kind of slowly reading it, but it's by, I forget her name, the same woman.
Elizabeth Gilbert. I think.
Yeah, and she talks about, you know, a lot of aspects of being a writer and being told no and just certain creative things. But I mean, I think she talks about Eat, Pray, Love getting turned down, or the the book she wrote right before that. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people would say this is stupid, this isn't a successful thing, and then Eat, Pray, Love became like that's what she's known for. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just deciding the no's aren't gonna stop you.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, it's also hard. I remember it was something like Bo Burnham said on a late night show when I think it was during press for his film 8th Grade. He said, me standing up here telling you how to like be successful is like Taylor Swift telling you to go follow your dreams. Like, and I was like, that is kind of true. And then he made a joke because he was on Conan O'Brien, actually. He was like, we're two tall, like straight white men. We did nothing to get here. The rest of you are screwed. And I was like, and what I love about Bo Burnham is his self-awareness. Mm-hmm. But it is funny, like hearing the people who got over that steep hill say to keep trying. It sometimes does feel like, well, of course you're gonna say that to me. But it's also that thing of they all got told no, though. They all got told what they want to do is stupid. Like these musicians all got told their music sucked. This person got told like. I think something came out recently, too, about Sydney Sweeney. Some casting director was like made a comment like, she's not pretty and she's not a good actor. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why everybody likes her. And Sydney Sweeney was like, bitch, I'm working. I'm successful.
Yeah.
Like, but it's that thing of even...
You don't have to understand it. I'm getting work.
Yeah, it's also just like Sydney Sweeney is objectively very attractive and like, a very talented actor.
She's like textbook, like attractive. Okay, I think I texted you earlier this week saying Sydney Sweeney for Drea, like movie cast.
Yeah, but this is the wrong episode.
No, I know. But I'm just saying because we're still in the middle of talking about the series. Like I still think that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it more later.
Yeah. But
yeah, she's just like.
Yeah,
conventionally but like gorgeous.
Yeah, and even, you know, things where like, you know, Jennifer Lawrence was told like to lose weight or like, all these things, like all these people that have made it were also told no, quit, stop, whatever. Mm-hmm. And what's that like really annoying saying? All it takes is one yes.
I know.
Or whatever.
But it's also like you can't tell yourself no before it even begins.
Exactly. Well, if you, it's kind of like that thing of if you don't even ask, the answer's automatically no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same as like if you don't even do it, the answer's automatically no. And I've noticed throughout this whole thing, like I call last year my year of just like depressed rotting. Like I was just like being a victim, laying around not doing anything. And then when I do get those anxious things about this film, thinking like I'm too overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, I'm kind of like a deer in headlights, whatever. I should throw in the towel. The discomfort of dropping this and going back to that place of rotting is more uncomfortable than the discomfort of like learning this process. Because also, once I go through all this and I hopefully want to do it again, I'll know more.
Yeah.
So yeah, the discomfort of doing is more comfortable than the pain of
Like I was
rotting.
thinking like I'm trying to break myself out of that rut because the years that I spent just not writing anything, even if it like didn't turn into anything, even if the story like didn't work out or whatever, I abandoned it. Like I don't want to go back to that because it was kind of like miserable. Like I really felt like I had like a limb missing because I wasn't like, I just love the act of just writing and like having these words in my head that need to get out. And I miss that. And I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah. What I tell people is I'm kind of miserable creating, but I'm more miserable not.
Yeah.
So, or like, even like with acting, like
writing is hard and acting it like just creating is hard.
Acting is so uncomfortable and puts you right up against your own like traumas and issues. But I'm way more miserable not doing it than doing it. You should really go through the artist way. I think I've told you that for years now.
I have. Well, I have it. I just kind of stopped working on it. But I have the book, and I was doing it, and that kind of that's what kicked me out of my rut, and that's why I'm starting to write again.
Well, you should finish The Artist's Way.
I need to finish it. It's really good. Anybody who is going through, even if you're not going through like a period of like creative stagnation.
Yeah, well, The Artist's Way isn't just for getting you out of a blocked period. It's to help you confront the parts of yourself that are keeping you from kind of maybe giving things your all and diving in fully.
Exactly, yeah.
And it also just teaches you, like the thing that really blew my mind was the concept of shadow artists. And I've talked about this a lot. She talks about shadow artists at the beginning of the book. And the example she used was a lot of film critics are shadow artists, because shadow artists are people that never allowed themselves to be artists and often harshly judge and critique other art. I think that's why social media is such a toxic place, because it's all these unhappy people just telling you why you suck, when in reality, if they had the emotional maturity to do the self-reflection, it would be like, even if I don't like their art, I'm still jealous of the fact that they're doing the thing that I'm too scared to do. But I grew up listening to people be like really judgmental of other people's art, and it was that like light bulb moment of, oh, I was just kind of engulfed in a sea of shadow artists. And I notice when I'm not letting myself do that, I get very judgmental of the things other people are doing, and
it's
like
true.
Mean. And like 19-year-old me would be talking shit with friends about it.
Yeah.
You know, like thankfully I don't really talk shit anymore, but yeah, I feel my brain start to get very mean. And then now thankfully I've done enough therapy and enough work to be able to quickly like see that happen and then immediately go, it's because you're not letting yourself do that. Don't be mean.
Yeah. I kind of had that too, where I was talking to another girl who was like, yeah, I'm going on this writer's retreat, like with this.
I've always wanted to go on a writer's retreat.
Me too, with this like
they're so expensive,
publishing company or whatever or something.
How much is it?
I didn't ask her, but like she was like to work on my book, and I was just like, of course she's writing a book. Like, and then I was just like, what is wrong with you? She's writing a book. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Nothing, Adriana. You're not doing anything.
I've always wanted to go on a writer's retreat. Too. But I think they're expensive.
They are expensive. What if you just go on a retreat?
I mean, you could just like go rent an Airbnb in Joshua Tree for like a week and just write.
I love Joshua Tree.
I've actually like never been.
So Eric and I went a couple years ago, which is crazy because we're not super outdoorsy people.
Did you camp or like stay in a house?
We stayed in an Airbnb. But we like went hiking a lot. We went on all these, they were like baby hikes. Like I think the longest one was like 3 miles. Okay. But it was really nice because it kind of like pushed us out of our comfort zone. Yeah. And it's not something we normally do. And it was just like the funnest like week ever. It was so much fun.
Well, I've always wanted to, because my day job is like, or jobs, I guess I have multiple, they're like 80% from home. So I've always thought I could just pick a week where I don't have to go anywhere specifically, and then just bring my work and like get my work done and just hang in somewhere cool like Joshua Tree. But
we should do that.
Yeah, but every time I look at it, I'm just like, I can't spend this money.
We should. I know. We should. Maybe we can just do like our own writer's retreat. Without going anywhere. So just Jesus like Christ. Normal. I'm trying to think of like a cheap writer's retreat.
Like a staycation.
So yeah, it's just like you just take off work and we just hang and we work on our stuff. We body double.
Then I think we would just call it body doubling, my friend.
I know, but I'm trying to like.
I think the problem is
I'm trying to give it meaning.
The cool thing about a writer's retreat or even just like a little weekend thing is pulling yourself out of your environment to do this thing. And it's expensive to pull yourself out of your environment.
That's kind of, now I want to like, I really want to do that. I want to save up the meager amount of pay that I get.
I want to save up for a lot of things. But
there's a lot of things I want to save up for.
That's why I'm crowdfunding for my film, because I can't fund that shit myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know how anybody can.
Where would you want to go if you could go anywhere for a writer's retreat? Money was not an option.
You mean a problem?
Yeah. Here's my brain again.
I don't. Somewhere definitely like woodsy. I don't think I have a specific spot because I'm not. I feel like a writer's retreat should be like a very remote place in an area where camping would occur, but you know, you're staying in a little cabin community. But I don't camp a lot, so I don't know a lot of places because I'm not an outdoorsy girl. I'm a city girl. I don't like bugs. Yeah, I don't know. Somewhere like remote and woodsy. I know it's not a specific place. What about you?
I guess it's kind of remote. So like I think it's mostly because I loved the book Anne of Green Gables
Oh, yeah.
and like Prince Edward Island. I've always wanted to go to Prince Edward Island. It's
Where
supposed
is
to be, it's on like the eastern coast of Canada.
Oh, okay.
So I went to Halifax, which is like really like you can take a ferry from Halifax to Prince Edward Island, but I never got to do that because I wasn't the one paying for the trip.
Yeah.
But like Halifax is really pretty, and I've like Prince Edward Island has always just been a place that I've really wanted to go to. And I think it would be really cool because it's kind of small, it's remote, but you have all these beautiful walks. You get out in nature, but you have Wi-Fi and all the things you need to write. I guess you don't need Wi-Fi to write, but you know.
Nah, if you want to Google something, though, like
I know, like to do research. You know, you have what you need to write, but you also can be surrounded by like beautiful nature. I think
That's nice.
That would be a fun place to go. Joshua Tree is also would be really cool too.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I just want to do shrooms in Joshua Tree though. But my mom and stepdad live on a beautiful property in Vermont, and they've talked about wanting to build more cabins on the property so they can host writers' retreats there.
Ooh, so they should get on that so that we can go on our like free writers retreat. I'm just kidding. I'd give them money.
No, they'd let you do it for free. You just have to like fly yourself there.
Yeah. You mean they wouldn't pay for my flight?
But I no offense, Mom, if you're watching, no offense, but like they have a lot of projects they need to get done first, so don't hold your breath.
I know.
But that would be cool because their property is, there's no cell service. They do have internet, but they have a landline for emergencies for when the Wi-Fi goes out.
Yeah.
And even their fastest Wi-Fi there is like the basic package you get here, which I find hilarious. Because it's so remote. But yeah, there's like the main house. There's 2 other tiny cabins on there right now. There's like a pond. And then if you go through the trees, the edge of their property is a reservoir in Vermont. It's very pretty.
Well, you know what would also be a really cool place for a writer's retreat? I don't know if you've ever been or heard of Corsica.
No.
So it's like the only reason I know it is because my friend Olivia, hi Olivia. So it's a little island in the southern coast of France next to Sardinia, which is.
I feel like you just want to go to an island.
Apparently I just want to go into a remote island, but it's so pretty there. So my friend Olivia, her mom was a professor of linguistics and anthropology at Cal State Long Beach. And I think before she started working at Cal State Long Beach, she would do research work on the island of Corsica because of all the ways that people there have like tried to hold on to like their specific like language. Like Corsican is a different like a different language than like French or Italian.
Like completely?
Completely. It's very similar.
Is it like if you speak Spanish, you can make your way in Italian?
Kind of. I speak a small amount of French. I spoke more like 10 years ago, but then I kind of dropped off. But like, so I could pick out certain things, but I couldn't, it was very different. But it sounds very similar to Italian.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, so the people, like the Corsican people have done a lot to like preserve their language and like their national heritage. So she would like do research work there.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Then they bought a house there, let's see, like the summer after we graduated from high school. I say house. It's like a really cute house, but it was
like a bungalow?
Yeah, it was not like a bungalow. It was like built in the 1600s. So
Like a salt box house?
like it was made out of like stone.
Salt box isn't the 1600s. I heard that after I said it. Made of stone.
Yeah.
Oh, like, okay.
So it was, and they didn't have Wi-Fi. It had bare essentials. So we would like
Like a whimsical looking place?
Yeah, it's
okay.
like, and it's in this little like village in the mountains. Corsica's so pretty. That would be a nice place. You still have internet. It's not great, but like you get to walk around and kind of just be surrounded by it completely.
Yeah, but what if you get like appendicitis on an island?
Well, they have hospitals.
Okay.
I don't know.
I feel like tiny islands like that have like a doctor who works out of their living room. And then if you have a real emergency, you have to get like air transported.
We'll have to ask Olivia because she lived in Corsica for a couple of years when she was a kid. And then they go there every summer to stay in their house.
That's cool. I wish my family owned a house somewhere not in the United States.
I know. Thanks a lot, Mom. Just kidding.
That's interesting. I mean, it's a bummer that if you speak French, you can at least communicate. Because I've always thought it
they
was
speak
really,
French there.
But I've always thought it was really cool that if you speak Italian, you can communicate with people that speak Spanish and vice versa. Because when I went on a Europe trip when I was 16 with my French class, we landed in Paris, and then we went to Nice, and then we went to Florence and Rome in Italy. And one of the chaperones spoke Spanish, and she was able to communicate with our Italian bus driver and everything like that. And I just thought that was really cool and interesting because I was like, those are different languages, but you two are communicating very well.
Well, they speak French on the island, and they like have a Corsican language requirement in their schools, but they also a lot of people speak English, more than you would think in a really small, like remote area.
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me. English, we monopolize the entire world.
So I was able to like make my way around there.
Are they rude? Like in France, are they rude if you speak English?
So the weird thing is,
or is it more like, Quebec where they're polite?
So usually a lot of people that I've talked to have said that people were really rude to them in Paris for not like speaking French or for trying to speak French and like not doing it right. But when I went to Paris, like people were really nice. Like at that point in time when I went, I spoke no French at all. And they were super nice. And then I went to Corsica and I knew a little more French. It was like I was barely conversant. And they were kind of, the first year I went, they were really snooty. So I would say something and then they would like look to Olivia and be like, what did she say? And then I was like, I know my accent is not that bad. My grammar sucks, but I know you know what I'm saying.
See, I wasn't there when you were in Paris, so I can't say. But I think it's probably more likely that you weren't picking up on their sarcasm when they were being nice to you.
No, because like I could tell like they were actually like really like, oh no, it's okay, like I can help you. Like I didn't.
Oh, then maybe you just ran into the 4 nice people there. Because when I was there, nobody was like blatantly mean. I have heard stories of people having like blatant rudeness. That didn't happen to me, but it was like clear annoyance. And then also just getting made fun of and like teased for being American.
Yeah.
Like I remember the group I was with, we stopped in this little shop to use the bathroom. And while we were waiting, the guy was like making fun of the way we were standing and stuff. And
and I had that too. Or when I was in Corsica, I was buying something in a shop and I was like really nervous. This is my first time like being able to speak French in like a French country. So I was like really hesitant to like speak to them. So they just assumed that I didn't know any French. They also don't get a lot of Americans down there. People who speak English are mostly British. So they were like, oh, an American. And then they started like talking about me in French, but I knew everything. I could understand them. I just couldn't respond to them. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess in a tiny place like that where they don't get a lot of Americans, it would be a different vibe.
Yeah. But the next year I went, they were so nice to me. Like, they were like, your accent is so good. And like, I never had any issues. And I think it's mostly because of like, it's like an outsider thing more than a, like you're American. I think it's because it's a small, like remote area. They kind of don't really take well to outsiders when they first come.
I mean, I don't take well to outsiders either.
Because Olivia said that her dad kind of had the same issue when he and her mom like started dating and they would go to Corsica together and he didn't speak much French and then now they like adore him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think it's more like a small town mentality.
Maybe. I feel like it goes drastically in one direction or the other. I feel like it's either you feel like an outsider or it's like, welcome, you tourist type of thing. Look at all the things we have to offer tourists because you're going to spend money here, that type of thing.
And I think when I went to Paris, they were so nice because I didn't speak any English, but I was with my parents. So
you mean French?
Yeah. I didn't speak any French, but my dad spoke French. So like he spoke a little French. So he, we were trying and like we were also, I think, pretty respectful, not like in what you would typically think or what, Europeans would typically think.
I know Americans can be rude too for anyone out there who sees this, who's in those kind like I know Americans can be rude.
We do know.
But like if we're being nice, like just read the room. If I'm being nice, just don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Not hashtag not all Americans.
Well, I know you're in a quick side story because on my trip, it was one of those things where our school merged with 2 other schools doing a trip.
Okay.
One of the schools was like 3 dudes from Texas. And I was like, okay, you're the reason everybody hates us here. Because they brought like food at the restaurants when they would bring us our food. One of the guys just looked at the waiter and went, I ain't going to eat that. And it was just like,
Then
dude,
why'd you order it?
well, we didn't order, like, dinners were prearranged.
I see.
And then because if your parents could sign a permission slip saying you were allowed to drink while you were there, and these guys were getting, like, hammered. And we were all hanging out one night, and one guy, like, fell asleep, and he got up in his drunken state to go pee, and he peed in the hallway of the hotel. So so basically who you hate are Texans, which, like, to be fair, as an American, me too. But
I know some cool Texans. But I've never, like, been to Texas, so I can't.
my dad lives in Texas, and they found, like, a cool pocket of people, but I don't know, even some of them I'm questionable about, so.
I hope they're not listening.
No, they're probably not. But if you are, you didn't wear a fucking mask during COVID, you piece of shit.
Oh.
So I just pull my icon. Like, no, it was one of those things. So, like, during, like, COVID time, especially in Texas, I was like, I'm a COVID protocol tyrant. I will yell at a stranger. I'm not a confrontational person. I yelled at people. It felt really good.
We were in a play once. It was things had started to open back up, but it was still protocol to wear masks in the theater. And this one woman, and we were in the middle of, like, the Delta surge, I think.
One of them.
And this one woman, she threw us all off because everybody else is wearing a mask, and she's, like, in the middle of the theater. Everyone's eyes, like, she's just maskless and just.
She had this smug expression.
Yeah, and we all of the actors were kind of, like, thrown by that.
Yeah.
It was a weird show. And then after, Robyn followed the woman to her car to yell at her for not wearing a mask, and we were all like, yeah.
Well, because we would go into the lobby just to thank people for coming, and I was going to confront her, and she went out to her car very quickly. So I followed her. She got in her car. I knocked on her window. I tore her a new one. Her mouth just, like, slowly dropped open in shock. Like, she was smiling at me, I think, ready for me to be like, "Thanks for coming."
Like, I think you found
and I was
for coming
just
and
like, next time you want to
wearing
come to a play, make sure to wear a mask because you put all of us at risk. You fucking cunt.
Yeah, because, like, as actors, we cannot wear masks on the stage. We were wearing them backstage at the time, most of us.
That's a whole other conversation.
But, like, just to protect each other because, you know, it was a very small theater. If one of us got COVID, we don't have understudies.
No.
We're fucked.
Yeah. And so I love yelling at people. But then, so one of my sisters got engaged and then married kind of during this time. And my dad and stepmom threw an engagement party for her and her now husband. And it was, you know, things were loose, but people were still being COVID cautious, or at least intelligent people were still being COVID cautious. But I have very strong feelings.
No, I have strong feelings too.
So the party was in the backyard, and then it was like, if you have to go inside to use the restroom, like, pop a mask on, whatever. And some of their fucking friends were not putting masks on. And I was like, excuse me, we are letting you into this home. I know this is not my home. This is my dad's home. But, like, we're letting you into this home for this party.
The least you could do is, like...
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care what you do on your own time, out in your own spaces, fine, whatever. But if a place like the theater is like has a mask policy, respect the rules of the establishment that you're in. If you don't want to wear a mask out at these places that aren't requiring them anymore, fine. But, like, it was just so frustrating to me with all of it. It's just like, I don't care if you don't give a shit about your health, but if it's like a dress code. If a fancy restaurant says, like, black tie, you wear the black tie. If a place says put a mask on, put a fucking mask on. You can take it off when you walk outside, and you can lick a parking meter if you need to get some germs and catch up on your germ consumption. Fine. But just respect. It's honestly, to me now, it's like, yes, I still care about the health safety precaution, but it's more an issue of just the disrespect for people and establishments. Mm-hmm. Like, if I ask you to take your shoes off before coming into my home, like, you're not, like, how rude would it be if you said, actually, it's scientifically proven that there's not a lot of germs on my shoes, so I'm going to keep them on.
And
no,
also,
it's my
it's my constitutional right to not take my shoes off.
It's just like, it's my fucking home, bitch. Yeah. Like, if I ask you to take your shoes off, you take your shoes off. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, if you reframe it in any other context, it makes you sound like an asshole. But, like, you people out there that don't, not that you're all watching this, but, like, you're just assholes.
Yeah. I just remember working at the store during the pandemic, like, everyone would always be, we would get people who would complain in the store, like, oh, I don't want to have to wear a mask. It's so uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is uncomfortable. It's not.
But it's also, like, not.
But I'm also, like, you know, I'm an employee at this place. Sometimes I was working like 8-hour days and I wore a mask the entire time. Like, so you can come into the store for like 20 minutes or however long you want to browse around and leave and take your mask off. I'm stuck there wearing a mask because I don't want to get sick because I need money.
Well, it's also like, it's a little uncomfortable, but it's also really not.
It's not.
It's not like the only time it's uncomfortable is so the tiny, I was still living down in Orange County when COVID first started, and I was going to this really small, like semi-private training gym. And when they opened up, they invited me to like come back for really cheap costs, like, and I would wear a mask while working out, and like that's hard.
Yeah,
wearing a mask while exercising is hard, but also I was fine.
Yeah, like you'll survive.
You'll be fine.
There was like a couple times where the AC went out and it was really hot. And
that's hot, yeah. Well, also because I feel like your body temperature raises more quickly. I would get so hot when wearing a mask just because something about like, I don't know, like my body temperature would just spike.
Yeah, and of course, like I wear glasses, so my glasses would fog up. You adjust, you learn, you deal with it, you move on and grow up and get over yourselves.
It's 2024.
Yeah, in the year of our Lord, 2024.
I'm just like, people piss me off so much. I have zero tolerance for a stupidity.
I think that's a good policy to have.
Zero tolerance for stupidity.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking just like your average human, like brain flatline, you know?
Yeah.
We all have that. I'm talking to the core. You're an idiot. Mm-hmm. Get out of my life. I would love another booster.
I just got mine a couple of weeks ago.
Damn, you're late.
Well, I got another one. I got one like a year ago or whatever.
Can you get another one?
I think so.
Oh.
Because I went to go visit my nephew. I had to get my whooping cough shot just because he's a baby. And I was like, oh, can I get another COVID booster? And they're like, yep.
Oh. I got my last one, I think, last like November or something, but I did get COVID in March, so I think I've still got some immunity. My second round with COVID. God. That was like, that felt like what I always imagined COVID would feel like. Because the first time I did have a cough for a little bit, but it felt way more just like a bad flu.
Yeah.
This second round, I would be like talking like on the phone, and I would like get 3 words. I would just cough. Like I couldn't talk without coughing. Mm-hmm. And then I would just get these like crazy coughing fits that were really attractive, where I would just be like, I would need to cough so hard until I would almost throw up, and then I would calm down. It was like so aggressive. And now I'm convinced I have a very mild form of long COVID, but it's fine.
I remember when I got COVID, like I'd gotten sick before. Like I'd gotten congestion where you can't really breathe through your nose. But like for me, I'd always been able to like breathe a little bit out of my nose. Like it wasn't completely
I've had like
blocked
full
out.
stopped.
But when I had COVID, I had like a full stop, couldn't breathe. And like when I would eat, like I couldn't.
Oh, so you have to like.
Yeah. And it was like really, then I would swallow and be like, and then like it really freaked me out because I'd never had that happen before. So I was kind of like panicking, like I can't breathe. And then Eric.
Were you not taking like a nasal decongestant?
I was, but it was taking a while to kick in. And then like Eric was like, okay, like it's okay, you can breathe. And he has had like a deviated septum. So he's like, he's dealt with it. He's like, I was like, I'm going to die. And he's like, you're not going to die. Just relax. Breathe through your mouth. It's going to be okay.
That's crazy. Because I've definitely had like colds in the past where it was like fully plugged and you had to like take tiny bites and like time it to be able to take an inhale.
I'd never had that happen before. It really freaked me out. And then I also remember like the first couple of days Eric and I got COVID at the same time. It took a while to hit Eric. It hit me really quickly. And then I remember him like calling my mom being like, she looks really bad. Like, I'm really worried. What should I do? And my mom was like, so Adriana does this thing when she's sick where she looks like she's going to die. She's not going to.
Do you just get really pale?
Yeah. Like I just you just look like that person feels like garbage. Like, oh, she just feels really, really bad. I get really pale. And then I'm kind of just like, I don't know how to like describe it, but it happens every time I get sick. My body's very dramatic. Yeah. So my mom was like, don't worry. Like, she's going to be okay. Like, it'll all be fine. She's not going to die.
That's funny. Why did you look at me and do that at the same time?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just wanted some water. I wanted to look at you while I was drinking water.
But it looked like you were trying to drink at the same time as me.
I was not. I just wanted deep eye contact, Robyn.
No. I don't know. Life is hard.
Life is hard and then you die.
Life is hard and then you die. It's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, aging is also weird. I was thinking about this the other day because I was filling out some like form that I think it was asking what like age range I'm in, and I turned 30 in February, and every time I'm confronted with it, like by saying my age or putting it in, I'm always like, this feels like a lie. This feels wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm 26. Like it's just my brain. And it's not even a thing of like feeling like 30 is so old. I don't even really care about the number. It's just
kind of wild.
I really genuinely still feel like I'm in my mid-20s. And have you heard of the pandemic skip?
Yeah.
I feel like that's it because the pandemic started when I just turned 26 right before lockdown.
Yeah.
And it totally makes sense to me that I still feel very much in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like,
So technically you're 26, I'm 27.
yeah, or I think it's saying that like those 2 years of more intense lockdown our brain didn't count, so we're like 28.
Okay.
Ish. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel mentally like, I don't know. And I don't even know what I was thinking 30 would feel like internally, but
I don't either. I was never like scared to turn 30.
no.
A lot of people, it's like in mainstream society, it's like, oh, when you turn 30, like, oh, it's like big deal, big 3-0. And I'm like, I didn't really care. It's just weird. I was really like, I'm ready to leave my 20s behind. But then at the same time, it's also kind of like wild. Like every time I'm just like, oh, wow, I'm 30.
Yeah, it hits me sometimes. I think I had a hard time the last couple years of my 20s, but not necessarily because I was about to turn 30. I was more, I guess, maybe grieving where I thought I would be by now in my life, and just grieving that idea and letting that go was more what was happening. Because, I mean, especially, where our parents' generation were at the age of 30 is so different than where we are. So I'm not, and I'm not like actively insecure about where I am in my life right now, but it was just like turning 30 kind of smacked me in the face with just that clear marker of, oh, I always believed I would be way further along in my life than I actually am. So that was the thing that like was kind of fucking me up a little bit. Like, oh, I always thought I would like, be financially secure and like have, my career where I wanted to be and have a house and like, and as a little kid, I thought I would have like, a husband and children, and I don't want children, and I'm not even sure I want a husband, if I'm being totally honest. But like that sort of thing, I felt like I hadn't checked enough boxes, I guess, because, and the boxes are house, career, marriage, children.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't even know if I want two of those things, but I don't even have the other two. So there was that insecurity, but it wasn't about turning 30 and feeling old. It was more just like, a clear yardstick to measure that with and being like, oh God, but like I haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like you had to throw that yardstick away and get like a new one.
And like it's also just this thing too of I don't know, like you can still be goofy and stupid and silly and weird with your friends. Like I think there is this weird idea that at a certain point in life, once you're an adult,
you have to be serious.
You have to be serious too, but it's just like,
and you have to wear like adult clothes and
and then I also thinking back to growing up watching my parents like hang out with their friends and get really like silly and weird with their friends. Like when I was a kid, it's just like, oh yeah, no, you never stop doing that. But yeah, it's still weird because every time I say I'm 30 or have to do that, I'm just like, I'm lying. I'm not 30, but the math is correct. But my brain is telling me that no, you're still in your 20s. And it's just bizarre. And I wonder if we just feel that way for the rest of our lives. I was trying to ask my grandma this because my grandma turned 80 in April. And I was trying to ask her, if she feels like a certain age, and I love my grandma. I mean, this is all the love in the world. She's not necessarily one for deep existential thought. She's very simple-minded, very just like, you know, she likes her modest life. She loved taking care of her kids, you know, and, you know, she's not going to do a lot of that, like, you know, crazy deep artistic introspection type of thing.
Yes.
But I was like, I want to see if like she would have an answer to this. And she just kept saying like, she just wasn't really giving an answer. And then, but my cousin who was there, she's in her late 30s. She said, she was like, in my late 20s, I kept feeling like I was 22. And then throughout my 30s, I've felt like I'm like 29. And I was like, oh, interesting. So maybe you just like kind of always feel like you're in the decade before. So like when we're approaching our 40s, maybe we're going to be like,
no, I'm 30.
Now I feel like I'm 30.
Yeah.
You know? Like maybe it's just like a 10-year delay or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, one of my favorite quotes from, I think I've said this before, but in the film Liberal Arts is like, you know, the world's dirtiest secret is that nobody stops feeling 19. And, you know, I think that's kind of true. I think everybody is just figuring it out. Also, like, I think the fact that our generation, I don't know how to say this without sounding like patronizing, is in a quote unquote less mature phase at this age. Like, it's very normal to like still live with roommates and not own a home and like not be married and like not have your career figured out, living paycheck to paycheck, like for art, because, you know, the boomers fucked up the economy. But like the phase of life that we are in at this age is like the majority of people our age. I feel like it's less common for people our age to be married with children and have a home.
Yeah.
I think, not to say it's not happening, but I think more of us, especially in an artistic field, are where we are, which is why I think I don't feel as insecure about it, looking at it the way it is. Yeah, it's just letting go of the idea of what I thought it would be. And somebody also framed it this way for me too once when I was talking about it is milestones for artists are way further apart than the milestones for other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good way to put it too, because like for artists, like everybody else is, you know, getting promoted, getting raises, whatever. And you're just like still trying to
making that money.
Yeah. And you're still trying to just figure your shit out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, right, our milestones are
much
further apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're much further apart and different. And I mean, thank God I'm not working in a cubicle because like I would throw myself off a building.
Like I've worked in offices before and it's just not I don't thrive there.
I've even worked in like cool offices, like, I'm not happy going to the same place at the same time every day. I also what I hated about working in offices too is like I work really quickly and I would be like, I'm done with my work. So now I have to sit here for the next 6 hours.
Yeah.
And what I love about working from home most of the time is that I can just go about my business when I finish my work.
Yeah.
And it's nice because, and a lot of people relate to this. I think a lot of like corporate people too are just like, I get my work done in 3 hours, you know? And yeah, it never made sense to me whenever I was somewhere where it's just like, hey, I'm done with my shit. Like, why am I not allowed to leave? Why am I not allowed to go home?
Why am I stuck here?
Yeah, call me if you need something else. Like, but you don't need me. I'm just sitting here trying to look busy.
Yeah.
So I get the full goddamn paycheck. It just drives me crazy. But yeah, offices are not fun environments to work in.
Yeah.
My dad did something cool because my dad works in a corporate space and my dad is, you know, very high up in his company, but the guy, you know, higher than him, after things started opening up, wanted to require everybody to come back into the office. And my dad actually like showed him the numbers and how much more productive they were with people working from home and got him to agree to allow people to do that and to choose to come in or not. So I think that's really cool. And I think I wish more people in power were like my dad like that, because a lot of people required people to come back in. And it's just like, I think you are more motivated when you're at home. Like it's easier.
Then there are some people, like I know Eric, he likes to work at home, but he also likes to have the option to go into he likes a hybrid environment. So he likes to go into the office so that he can have that camaraderie with his like sound design team. Yeah. And all his other coworkers. But then he likes to also just have some days where he just gets to like work at home and just be at home.
Yeah. I think having the hybrid option, if the space does have an office building they use, is great. Because I know some people do prefer that, and especially extroverted people like that environment. They don't want to be at home. But for people like me, it's just like I work quickly. I get my shit done. Once I get my work done, I want to be done working.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to sit there wondering if you're going to give me something to do. It drives me. It's never made sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I've just had so much of my life had so many jobs like doing exactly that, finishing my work and then just like sitting and then just like counting down the seconds until lunch and then counting down the seconds until I get to leave.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
Should we wrap it up?
Sure. How do we do that? I forgot. Great.
Yeah. So let us know.
This was a little more of a low energy chit chat.
Yeah, but I kind of liked it.
Chiller. Let's all
chill.
Yeah, have a little meditation.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know, eventually if we build up an audience, we want to do like Q&As or something on
Yeah,
here,
or like
so.
listener mail. So like just send us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Send us what books you loved, even if they're not YA.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be YA.
Please talk to us.
Yeah. We're 30 and alone.
Robyn's just alone in her house.
And next week we're talking about Silvers for Secrets. And
Do you love how we said that at the same time?
we didn't even plan that.
No,
actually.
we didn't. That's how good we are.
Yeah, and then after that, the final book in this
In
series.
the series, and then we'll, move on. The world is our oyster.
Yes. So, yeah. Like and subscribe. Rate us 5 stars on whatever platform you listen on.
Comment.
Comment. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
And join us every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday for ASMR conversations. Just like this one.
I loved it.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you next Wednesday for Silvers for Secrets.
All right.
Bye.
Who killed your darling?